Now in this video, I'm going to show you how you can replace up to 7 different winemaking additives that you normally would have had to have purchased either online or through your local brew supply shop using simple store-bought ingredients. Hi, I'm Charles and welcome to DIY Fermentation, your site for doing fermentation on a shoestring budget. The 7 winemaking substitutes we'll be talking about are going to be wine yeast, Compden tablets, Pectin enzyme, acid blend, tannin, yeast nutrient, and wine stabilizer. Now, the primary task of wine yeast is to convert sugars into alcohol. That's its primary job. Yeah, there are some variations in terms of the amount of alcohol it will produce, but basically that is what it does. Now, bread yeast also will convert sugars into alcohol. It will have a slightly lower alcohol tolerance, so it won't produce as much alcohol, but it will work just as well. Compden tablets, also known as potassium metabisulfite, is used to kill off any harmful bacteria that might be present. It's also used to retard the growth of any wild yeast that might be present on your fruit. Additionally, Compden tablets are also used to retard oxidation that might occur over time. Now, a good substitution for Compden tablets is to place your fruit into a pot of boiling water. This will have the effect of killing off any wild yeast and also helping to reduce the amount of harmful bacteria. The only thing it will not do is to reduce the amount of oxidation that will occur in your wine over time. Granted, we don't want to cook the fruit, we just want to place it in boiling water for a few minutes. Pectin is what holds the plant cell walls together. The problem with that is that in winemaking, that pectin will also leave a pectin haze in our wine. Now, in order to remove that, we use what is called pectin enzyme, which breaks down that pectin and also helps release a lot more of the juice that's held within those plant cell walls so that we can enjoy more flavor in our wine. Now, one good natural source of pectin enzyme can be found in the outer peelings of the papaya. Just peel half a papaya per gallon, chop them up, and add them to your juice several hours prior to fermentation. As for the rest of the papaya peel, you can simply store that in the freezer until you're ready for your next batch. Acid blend is a combination of 3 acids: citric acid, malic acid, and tartaric acid. And these are used to balance the acidity in the wine. Too much acidity and your wine tastes a little bit tart. Too little acidity and your wine tastes a little bit flat. Now, lemons contain citric acid. Therefore, you can replace that component of the acid blend by using the juice of 1/4 of a lemon, which I found to be a good starting point per gallon of wine. Now, tannin, which can be found in the stems and skins and seeds of grapes, also can be found in the oak of wood or in powder form, is used to give the wine a slightly bitter or astringent taste, sometimes known as a mouthfeel. Now, tannin can also be found in black tea. Just brew up about 1/4 to 1/2 cup of strong black tea and add that to your mix, and you should use that as a good starting point to determine how much tannin you want to add in the future. Yeast nutrients are used to promote an active, healthy fermentation. If you notice that your fermentation is smelling a little funky, like sulfurous odors, or if it's a slow fermentation, or if it's just plain stopped, usually that's a good sign that your yeast is a bit stressed. Now, one simple way of providing your yeast with some of the nutrients that they need is to feed them dead yeast or dead yeast hulls. And one very simple way of doing that is like this. Now, the process is really very simple. All you need to do is Put in your yeast, put in your water, turn the stove on and bring it to a boil. Now that this has come to a boil, we can turn off the heat and let it come down to room temperature. You can also, by the way, do this in the microwave. Wine stabilizer, or potassium sorbate, is used towards the end of the winemaking process to prevent renewed fermentation in your wine, especially if you're planning on backsweetening your wine. If fermentation were to restart after you've bottled your wine, the yeast is going to continue to build up pressure in a sealed or corked bottle of wine to the point where you will either, if you're lucky, pop your cork. If you're not lucky, break your bottle. And if you're really not lucky, the bottle can explode. Now, a simple method to get around that possibility is simply use pasteurization, where you're heating up your wine to a temperature beyond that the yeast is capable of surviving, therefore allowing you to store your wine safely. You can find a link to this process in the video description above or below. So there we go, my take on 7 different ways in which you can substitute winemaking ingredients for store-bought ingredients or stuff you just happen to have lying around the house. If you like what you see here, please click on the subscribe, notify buttons, click on that like button as well. Also, it'd be helpful if you can become a member or a Patreon. And then again, we always have merch. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video. Should be coming up shortly. See you then.